The Dear J Letters. They, Part 1. Dear J, I should have left this town when you asked me. It has been 2 months since I received a letter from you, and I'm starting to worry. I wonder, though, if things are the same where you are, because strange things are happening here. Since David disappeared last January, others are mysteriously disappearing. David and I were ending our year-long relationship, but I'm still worried about him. Do you remember my next-door neighbours, the Johnsons? They lived in an apartment to the left of me. Mrs. Johnson knocked on my door last week, asking me if I'd seen her husband. I could only tell her I hadn't. When I saw her in the laundry room on Wednesday, she mentioned the strangest thing. She said, "I hope they didn't take him too." Who are they? After talking to Mrs. Johnson, I remembered when everyone asked me if I thought they took my boyfriend. I didn't notice how odd the question was. At the time, I was depressed about David's disappearance. Yesterday on the news, I watched this poor distraught man pleading, crying, imploring the public to find his wife. Again, he made the same strange statement. I think they took her. A woman from 2 towns over reported her college-bound son missing. Her son was on the way to a campus library at upstate New York College when he disappeared. Can you guess what she said? You got it. She said, "I think they took him." Am I missing something? It feels like I'm in another dimension or something. Who the hell are they? I can't walk through this town without sensing watchful eyes upon me. Will they take me too? Are they the Illuminati, the Mafia, a terrorist group, aliens? Are you watching the news? I find myself glued to the TV more now than I ever did before. The police have found ritualistic markings on trees on the edge of Convenium Park. With a name like that for a park, symbols on trees do not surprise me. People are whispering around town that loud chants are coming from the center of the park at night. I don't know how true that is, though. While walking through the neighborhood, I notice various symbols on doors of homes. It looks like someone other than the residents of those homes placed them there. Like I said before, things are strange in this town. Is a secret organization marking us? This is all freaking me out. Someone put leaflets on the hoods of cars in the parking lot of my apartment complex. Leaflets claim the Illuminati had nefarious plans for the world. So who are they? Witches? Or Illuminati? Maybe aliens are coming for us all. Yes, I'm feeling facetious. Is there a secret society among us? And they mean to infringe on our way of life? Conspiracies are everywhere these days. I have one more thing to tell you, and I fear that it will only add to your silence. I ordered a cup of coffee at Sunrise Coffee Shop, and I chose to sit outside. A woman walked by, but slowed long enough to hand me an envelope. The envelope contained a card with a symbol of a spider's web in the center, a number 3 on the left, and a number 8 on the right. The woman never stopped but kept walking. I yelled out to her, but she wouldn't respond. Do you have any idea what those symbols mean? I will need to do some research regarding their significance. Could I be their next victim? And what does this all mean? If I'm honest with myself and with you, I'm scared. Please write to me. Please, I'm begging you. Are things the same where you are? Damn it! Something just occurred to me. Did they take you too? Oh God, no. I can't think that way. I refuse. You are the best friend I've ever had. So please, write to me. Forever your friend, Janelle.
They, Part 2. Dear Janelle, I suppose I owe you an apology for my absence these past few months. You won't like this, but my work is all-consuming. I am pleased to learn you are well, albeit rattled by the local climate. Nonetheless, you are well. David's disappearance startled us all, but as you pointed out, your relationship had ended despite this unfortunate event. I hoped you would have found a way to move on from such an unsavoury man, but often one cannot make rhyme or reason of the heart. Surely he is alive and attempting his scam on another unsuspecting woman, one more willing to acquiesce to his ridiculous demands than you. Strange is indeed the word of our time. Please deliver my deepest condolences to your neighbour, Mrs. Johnson. I always found her husband odd. Perhaps he fled the chaos and lounges on some forsaken beach, drinking fruity cocktails with paper umbrellas. I hope this for Mr. Johnson, but not for your David. That man deserves moral reprimand and criminal justice. As for the rest of your letter, don't let your imagination drive you over the edge. Illuminati, the mafia, terrorists, and aliens. Oh, and you stated witches are at play. You must remain composed. I warned you the park would attract all sorts. Do you remember? You were so delighted to have found a corner apartment facing east. All you would talk about was how delightful the morning sun would be as you bathed in its warmth, read a favourite novel, and sipped your cup of tea. I'm not surprised at the least the police report ritualistic markings in Convenium Park. After all, hundreds accused of witchcraft met their demise on the very spot. Dark energy like that doesn't dissipate. It clings to the soil and screams at the heavens. I will tell you some things. In doing so, my aim is to calm you to a degree, but you must keep this to yourself. Do you promise me, Janelle? I know you far too well. Uncross your fingers and say it out loud. The they you keep referring to is, in fact, THEI, and stands for Trustees of the Hollow Earth Institute, commonly referred to by insiders as the Eye. Are you aware of Edmund Halley's theory? Target your research efforts on this. But mind, you are being watched. We all are. This organisation consists of millions of followers. I suspect you will learn of more and more disappearances as people are collected by the Eye. My firmest belief is these individuals were transported to a safe shelter within the centre of our planet. More alarming, and my greatest concern, revolves around the timing. Why now? There's more, but I fear our correspondence already places you in the utmost danger. If only I had the database of members, we might stand a chance at stopping this. But the list has never been found. I'm going to tell you something else, and you won't much like it. The card was sent by me. I'm afraid my face is all too recognisable, and we need someone we can trust to infiltrate the organisation. Another stranger, assigned by me, will find you at the Sunrise Coffee Shop 1 week from today and hand you an address. You must go to this location. The card will gain your entry. I put all my confidence in you. And remember, sensible heads prevail, Janelle. Sensible heads. Your friend, Jocelyne Matheson.
They, Part 3. Dear Jocelyne, I cannot begin to tell you how relieved I am to read your letter. First, I want to say you are correct about David. I saw him at the grocery store with a young 20-something woman. He didn't see me because I left immediately. I am glad he's not my problem anymore. Professor Kenneth Peterson, one of my former professors, called me last night. He taught science and technology for years before retiring 2 years ago. We kept in touch often. I asked him to tell me his thoughts on the disappearances, but he wouldn't discuss the subject at home. He asked me to meet him at a small warehouse he recently purchased. Once inside, I observed a display of computers and surveillance equipment. Photos of hundreds of people covered the wall. He claimed they mysteriously disappeared. What I'm about to tell you will connect a few dots in the mystery surrounding the eye and abductions. Professor Peterson asked me what I thought the missing people had in common. Of course, I didn't recognize any commonalities. He said it's all about their blood. It turns out they all have negative rhesus factor. I told him my blood was A negative, and he voiced some concern for me. I noticed large posters of Earth showing the North and South poles. Arrows pointed to both with the words, "proof of a hollow Earth." Also, a curious thing happened. He gave me the same card you sent me, the one with a 3, a web, and an 8. He wrote down the P.O. box number on the back in case I needed to contact him. Before I left, he told me to watch my back. I surmise he is communicating with the same people as you. I left and made my way to the Sunshine coffee shop to collect the address you said would be delivered. The woman who gave me the envelope wore sunglasses and a flowered scarf that she draped over her head around her neck and shoulders. I grabbed her wrist before she left. I don't understand what possessed me to ask her this, but I asked her what blood type she was. She said O negative. After leaving the coffee shop, I went to the library to research the rhesus protein in blood. You probably wanted me to go directly to the location you provided, but I needed more information about the Rh negative blood since it affects me. I discovered that only 15% of human beings have negative Rh factor. Even more fascinating are the physical characteristics that include green or blue eyes and cool body temperatures. I possess both. What is also intriguing is the claim of heightened mental and emotional awareness of these individuals. My research made me wonder if witches are Rh negative. That might explain their superior connection to nature and our planet. Are you Rh negative? I ask you this because of the many conspiracies about negative Rh factor in humans. If the recurrent denominator in the disappearing people is the absence of rhesus protein, then anyone who lacks the protein is in danger. I admit, I was nervous about the task you asked me to complete, but it is imperative to take action against the brutal organization usurping control over the balance of our world. The place you directed me to was down a back alley on the east side of town. I did as you requested and showed the card. A tall, muscular man allowed me inside. He led me to the back room with a staircase leading to the basement. As I entered, a group of men and women were watching surveillance cameras and combing through databases. A woman introduced herself to me as Lady Helena. She was a witch, and I suspect there were a few more in the room. Helena explained to me that my blood would be the perfect disguise. The eye would want me. But I should be aware that the why is still in question. I could face a dangerous situation. She thanked me for committing myself to the 3Web8 mission and told me I would receive further instructions soon. By the way, she told me she was also Rh negative. It's interesting, don't you think? I asked her if I could use the messenger service that 3Web8 uses to send you my letters for added security. She told me it was at my disposal since I was now part of the 3Web8 movement. I will not lie about my feelings. I am scared, and I breathe deep and focus on the bigger picture. Today has been one of the most stressful yet invigorating days I've had in some time. I am hoping to hear from you soon. It would comfort me if you told me what your role is within 3Web 8. Love, from your friend, Janelle.
They, Part 4. Dear Janelle, I should be infuriated with you for going out on your own, but I suppose I knew that was exactly what you would do. I asked you to leave your beloved town and Convenium Park months ago. You refused. Why would I believe you would listen to me now? Might I also remind you, I warned you not to trust anyone. Yet you went to the industrial district alone to meet Peterson. Did it not occur to you how odd it was for a retired professor to purchase a warehouse and fill it with computers and surveillance equipment? Wherever did he get the funds for such an endeavour? Furthermore, how could he possibly know the blood types of missing people unless he has hacked their private medical records? He has an agenda, a dark and ominous one. You stated you believed Peterson and I are part of the same organisation because he handed you a 3Web 8 business card. If we were, he would know I had reached out to you. I suspect he used the same tactic I did on you. He wanted to see your reaction. I firmly believe if you had been compromised, you would never mention the organisation's name to me. For him, your acceptance of the same card from his hand proved your awareness of the organisation. I'm sorry, Janelle. I had to be sure of your allegiance before I disclosed my discoveries. I'm afraid your former professor embedded himself on the wrong side of this treacherous conflict. More importantly, he's behind the whole damned affair and has hijacked the 3Web 8 organisation's identity. He uses our good name to further his nefarious, zealot cause. We learned our organisation had been cloned, but we had never put a face to its leader. Now we can, and I owe plenty of thanks to you for uncovering this. Armed with this knowledge, my team's investigation discovered Peterson is also the one behind the activities at Convenium Park. His followers, thousands of them, use ancient symbols to mark the occupants' homes who lack the Rh antigen. The other houses, the ones without markings, are targeted by him for testing. These people will be kidnapped. Peterson is convinced Rh-negative blood contains super immunity factors. Documentation exists that the majority of survivors of the Black Plague were individuals with this missing factor. Peterson believes something in their chemistry and the lack of this protein makes them impervious to bacteria, viruses, and certain biological chemicals. The nightly ceremonies are performed by his followers, disguised as witches to create constant distractions. All the things you mentioned, the ritualistic markings and the chants in the park, are geared toward providing eyewitnesses and gives legitimacy to their false narrative. What better way to move about undetected than to play on people's fears and stir up deep-seated memories of the witch hunts? As you revealed in your last letter, Peterson's organisation is brutal. He is hell-bent on the annihilation of those who aren't Rh-negative. If he accomplishes this, he plans on controlling those remaining alive. Why do you believe Lady Helena is a witch? Did Peterson tell you this? This woman, whoever she is not part of the true 3Web 8 or the Eye. She infiltrated our organisation, and I do not want you to take direction from her. There are no witches, only these evildoers entrapping the Rh-negative blood types for cruel experimentation. She lured you in and lulled a certain sense of security when she declared you a member and granted you full access. She plans to intercept our letters and to find me. Identifying who is an actual part of the real 3-Web 8 is impossible. Nothing is as it appears, Janelle. Nothing. I must confess something. My organisation is guilty of condoning the I, as they move about under the cloak of being devotees of Halley's theories. We propagate stories about aliens and alien abductions as a cover for our actual work. Our mission: keep as many people safe as possible and prevent the kidnapping of more innocent people, especially our fellow Rh negatives. He tests their immunity by exposing them to deadly chemicals. We are not guinea pigs. Make no mistake, Peterson is an imposter. He is not leading his flock to a better world. Instead, his devotees will be killed as soon as his greedy hands are on a serum that can keep him alive. At that point, he will unleash hell on this earth. But trust, we are watching him as he watches the world. I suppose I've told you quite enough. But between Peterson and Lady Helena, you are deep in the den of thieves. Not only have you exposed who's behind this nefarious endeavour, but you have also exposed yourself as a perfect candidate for capture. Please, be safe, my friend. Jocelyne Matheson.
They, Part 5. Dear Jocelyne, your last correspondence confirmed your arrogance and sense of superiority. Throughout the years of our friendship, I have always known your deep-seated assumptions about my character. You never miss a chance to imply that you think I am weak, even though it is so subtle. You must realize I am fully enlightened about your sentiments. I am glad I followed my instinct and stayed in town rather than follow you like a puppy on its best behaviour. I will address my friend, Ken Peterson. I told you in my last letter he and I kept in touch. Ken is a wealthy man. Let me remind you, Jocelyne, many people purchase buildings for personal use. Why should he be any different? There is a lot about the professor you aren't privy to. I left you in the dark for a reason, and in the dark you will stay, although I am sure your agents are reporting to you. These are dark times, and hacking into federal systems will become more necessary as time moves forward. You are already knowledgeable of the blood type connection. This surprised me. You also seem to know a lot about Ken's business and his comings and goings. If this is the case, then you would know Ken and his entire family are Rh negative, but you act as though he is not. Yes, I have proof of his blood type. It is more plausible to me that he would be most likely to take our side than not. Your accusations don't make sense. Ken is not willing to harm anyone who has negative blood type. It is curious that you would deliberately send me to a location only to berate me for trusting the very people you sent me to. Testing my allegiance because I didn't leave town on demand is absurd. Lady Helena and I shared a rewarding exchange of conversation. She revealed her status as a witch, hoping that I would be open to working with her. Helena provided me with proof, and I will not disclose it to you since you are surprisingly close-minded. Alternatively, is it that you are trying to divert me from the truth? While I spoke to Helena about the disappearances, blood type and motives, I asked her if she knew of any other clusters of 3-Web 8 members. She disclosed several, including Ken. Interestingly, she never mentioned your name, causing me to believe that you were not part of the 3-Web 8 movement. I decided not to bring your name into our discussion. I wanted to wait for your letter, to find out what you said about the details I gave you. I don't believe that the I and the 3Web8 organizations are connected, nor do they want the same outcome. You claim that Helena and Ken are imposters who have infiltrated your organization. I wonder, though, if you are the imposter. Perhaps you are using me as a pawn in your game, laughing at me as I do your bidding. You twist things to suit your plan while claiming knowledge of Ken's and Helena's agendas. Here's what I think. You are part of the I who is deceiving people and projecting fake news and fake claims of aliens and witches. You do this to cause doubt and hysteria, making it difficult for the Wiccan community to glean any help from outside sources. You diminish the credibility of witches. Then there is the 3Web8. They are the ones trying to desperately protect the masses, especially the Rh-negative citizens of the world. Although, I do suspect that some information your organization conveys has some truth. You, Jocelyne, and your minions are the imposters and the infiltrators. I believe you've mistakenly divulged your organization's evil intentions. You underestimate my investigative abilities. Information comes to those who seek truthfulness. Please do not contact me again. I am not your puppet. Do your own dirty work. Take heed, though. We, who are the true 3Web8, are aware of everything around us, including who our enemies are. Goodbye, Janelle.